Thank you, Mary Grace. Now facing multiple allegations of sexual harassment and mounting pressure from his colleagues on Capitol Hill, Congressman John Conyers today announced that he's retiring immediately.
WUFT's political anchor Ramsey Touchberry joins us with more.
That's right. The longest-serving U.S. congressman is endorsing his son as his replacement. Congressman John Conyers' move set off calls for other members of Congress accused of sexual misconduct to do the same. NBC's Edward Lawrence reports from Capitol Hill.
Representative John Conyers, the longest-serving member of the U.S. House, becomes the first congressman to step aside during this latest wave of sexual misconduct allegations in Washington. He made the announcement on a Detroit radio show.
I am retiring today, and I want everyone to know how much I appreciate the support.
Elected 53 years ago, he was a co-sponsor of the landmark 1965 Voting Rights Act and a co-founder of the Congressional Black Caucus. But in recent weeks, his reputation tarnished as several women accused him of sexual harassment.
Whatever they are not accurate or they're not true.
His supporters now want Congress to name all the lawmakers who settled cases with taxpayer money.
The rest of the congressional delegation that has settled these kinds of lawsuits, they need to go also.
Including Republican Blake Farenthold from Texas, who settled a complaint for $84,000 of taxpayer money, which he now promises to pay back. Nevada Democrat Ruben Kihuen faces his own sexual harassment claim, which he denies. Senator Al Franken says he will not resign, facing allegations from multiple women. Leaving behind the seat he's held for 5 decades, Congressman Conyers is endorsing his son, John Conyers III, to take his place. Edward Lawrence, NBC News, Washington.
The Republican National Committee is restoring its campaign support for Alabama Republican Roy Moore. The RNC cut ties after women came forward saying Moore made advances while they were underage and he was in his 30s. The shift comes after President Trump endorsed Moore, tweeting that the GOP needs more support in the U.S. Senate to provide votes for a conservative agenda. Trump echoed that endorsement to reporters today.
I think he's going to do very well. We don't want to have a liberal Democrat in Alabama, believe me. We want strong borders. We want stopping crime. We want to have the things that we represent, and we certainly don't want to have a liberal Democrat that's controlled by Nancy Pelosi and controlled by Chuck Schumer. We don't want to have that for Alabama.
Voters head to the polls December 12th to choose who will fill the seat held for years by Jeff Sessions. The U.S. Supreme Court is allowing the newest version of President Donald Trump's travel ban to take effect while it's challenged in court. Yesterday's order was a significant temporary win for the Trump administration. It was the first time justices left a version of the ban go forward in its entirety. That means all the terms can be enforced until the courts decide if measures go too far. Yesterday, President Trump became the first modern president to use the Antiquities Act to shrink a national monument designation. He did it for 2 sites in Utah to roll back previous expansions. Trump says it's not about politics, but giving the land back to the people and getting it out of the hands of big government. The Interior Secretary says there are more monuments that are oversized, which can be shrunk to allow more agriculture or mining activity and still protect historical sites. President Trump confirms he plans to move the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. President Trump informed the Palestinian Authority today with a phone call. In turn, Mahmoud Abbas warned Trump of the dangers of such a step to Middle East peace efforts. Abbas will work with other world leaders to prevent such moves which support Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Florida Governor Rick Scott is currently in Israel. Days earlier, he agreed that with Trump that the embassy should be moved to Jerusalem.